Well, good morning. It's Jimmy from Stuart Arts, and today I want to talk about my hammers. Some of you who have viewed my videos, and family members and friends, and you know who you are, have chastised me on occasion for the large quantity of hammers that I keep on hand. These are just a few of them. These are the ones that I tend to use pretty much on a daily basis, but I have dozens more, maybe hundreds, between here and my garage at home, and I thought I would just share a little bit about them with you today. There's just something about the feel of a good hammer in your hand when you're doing work. It's a very primal pleasure to work with a hammer for me. I just thought I'd comment just on the uses that I have for some of my hammers, and I thought I would just show off a little bit of my collection. I hope you enjoy. I'll start with this guy here. This is actually a mallet, and when I bought my lathe, I bought this rigid lathe here, and this is the very first thing I made. It's almost like a rite of passage that if you get a wood lathe, you've got to make a mallet. So this is something that I use for banging on wood mainly, if you're assembling and so forth. It's very good for helping you get like mortise joints and things like that together. This is more of an all-purpose one here, nice and heavy. If I really need to beat on something, that's one that I like to use. This is a neat one. This is a Dixie, and it's got a bronze head, and apparently this belonged to Dave in assembly somewhere. But I cleaned this one up, and it's got a bronze head on it, and it's good for applications where you don't want to spark. Like for example, if you're doing number stamping or something like that. It's also a non-glancing type hammer, so if you put steel on steel, the steel will tend to bounce, but the bronze, for whatever reason, does not have that property. Here's an oddball here. This is a great big handle, and this little tiny head here. Not sure what this one's for, but it's here if I ever need it. I love these old leather handled ones, so I will take these and clean them up and revarnish them. And I just love the feel of these. This little guy here, I don't know, this is nothing special, but I'll tell you, this is one I use almost on a daily basis. It's really a good middle-sized hammer, and it works really well with the type of projects that I use. It's got a good weight to it, and it works very well. These are, I believe these are upholstery hammers, and these are really nice antiques. This one's got copper rivets, and it's really, you know, well beaten and thumped on, and I really think it's just got a lot of character to it, so I love using this thing. I actually don't do any type of upholstery work, and I rarely will beat a pin or a nail with this. And what I find these hammers to be good for is closing up cans of stain. I stain my woodworking projects, and it just seems like, you know, the tapping of this on the rim of the can, it's just enough to get it to seal without damaging the rim itself. So if you do a lot of staining, get yourself a little upholstery hammer. It's perfect for closing up those cans. And I have 2 or 3 of those just in case I run out. Here's one I get a lot of use out of. This is for a lumber yard or for a sawmill, and when you cut the wood up, it has on the head of it, it has the number 52 there, which I believe is some type of an inspector number. And what you do is when the wood is all bundled up, or the logs, you just put a little tap into the end grain, bam, and you have the number 52 that appears there. So not sure what that's for exactly, but I thought it was pretty unique. I have yet to use it, but if I ever need the number 52 on something, I'm all set. When I buy these things at the flea markets, I'll bring them to the shop here, and there's a couple of buckets, and I'll put them in the bucket until I get time to refinish them. This one's actually in pretty good shape. It's a Maydole. I've never heard of that one before, but it's a really nice framing hammer. One of the things I love about these is a lot of times they'll have a name in them. This one was owned by a guy named Otis. I think Otis got a lot of good use out of that. Augie? Here's one that it's in the rust bucket. I need to fix this one up. It's a channel lock. I did not know that channel lock made hammers, but got this thing for $1. It looks like crud right now, but I guarantee you it'll be beautiful once I get it on the wire wheel and put a little oil on it. These are some really nice est wings here. These things were completely covered in rust and paint and concrete, and I got those all cleaned up, and they're really well made. They're probably just from the 70s or 80s. They're not terribly old, but man, they sure are well made, and they're there if I need them. And here's a few more of my hatchets, mainly hatchets and axes. This is a little ball peen hammer, and I love these. I've got several of these that I bought, and let me tell you, no two of them are alike. And I understand that back in the day, guys did these as high school shop projects, and a lot of times you'll find these in old toolboxes. My dad has one that he made in the 1940s when he was in school, and I hope someday I'll have that as a part of my collection. But it's a real nicely made thing, and he did that in his metal shop class. My hat is off to anybody that can make something on a metal lathe. Toy tools is another thing that I really love, and so these little hammers here, they came out of little kiddie tool boxes. I always buy these old kiddie tools when I find them. This is a really neat set here that I bought up at Florida Flywheelers a couple of years ago. Missing one tool, but it's on the original card, so it's kind of neat. Here's some miniatures that I made with my Unimat lathe when I first got it. I picked up all of these off of this young couple that bought a whole pallet of tools at an auction from Home Depot. Here's a few more of them that are inside my garage at home. I've been collecting them for probably 15 years or more, and what I'm ashamed to tell you is that I also have boxes of them that I have not really done anything with. But anyway, these will all be passed on to my children and grandchildren, and they can collect them and love them into perpetuity. Well, if you made it this far into the video, then I know that we get along very well, and I really appreciate you watching. And if you don't mind leaving a comment, I'd love to hear what you have to say.